So we're getting more details about the US strikes in Nigeria. Just as a summary, Trump ordered some airstrikes in a state called Sokoto, as you can see in the map, northern Nigeria. Now, a lot of you might not have heard of this state, and when you hear about the insecurity crisis, you're like, oh, I didn't know that was a really big thing in that state. That state does border a state called Zamfara, which has massive problems with insecurity and terrorism and all these kind of stuff. But the groups that Trump was hitting, they were claiming they were ISIS type of groups. It turns out they're a whole separate terrorist group called the Lakurawa group. Now, the origins of this group in Nigeria is very interesting. Years ago, I found an article that reported on this yesterday. This community that this group are present in was experiencing loads of insecurity. So rather than go to the government and be like, oh, can you just provide policemen and, stop this, insecurity problem? They were like, you know what we'll do? We'll contact some Islamic fundamentalists in Mali to come and help us deal with the problem. Now, as you can see, this state, Sokoto, is a border state. But guess what country it borders? Niger, not Mali. As you can see from the map of West Africa, Mali is actually another country over. So you have a problem with insecurity in Nigeria. It's so bad that you don't even get the Nigerian government or the police or the soldiers in Nigeria. You then go to Mali to get some Islamic fundamentalists to come and help you deal with the problem. Now, it turns out those people came to Nigeria and start doing the kind of things Islamic fundamentalists do, and then the government then designates them a terrorist group. Now, of course, the question is, where is the government in all of this? Like, how are people allowed to invite foreign militias into your own country? Where's the border security? Trump's always talking about borders. That's kind of funny. Like, how as a government did this happen on your watch? Now, this is the group that Trump and the Nigerian government, I guess, agreed to strike. I saw a guy that does a lot of this OSINT analysis, and he published something about how the US has been doing reconnaissance on this area for a few days before these strikes. Now, the strikes happened in two places. One of the places, they were like, oh, we've never had an insecurity problem. We don't really know why they're striking us. The other place said, oh yeah, these people are operating in this area. I think the airstrike may have hit some of them. But it's so interesting that until yesterday, I didn't know there was a new brand of, terrorist group in Nigeria that was actually invited in by some, communities in Nigeria to try and deal with a separate insecurity problem that this is now becoming itself another insecurity problem. Hope that made some sense. But just to give you an idea of the kind of chaos we're experiencing in Nigeria, hopefully this gives you a flavor of that.